My name is Mike Resmo, and I live in Palm Desert, California. The first time I became aware to what the Nazis are doing to the Jews is on the morning that the Hungarian Black Guard came to our house and asked us to leave the house. Until then, I had no inclination of what was going on. Is to collect all the Jews and take them to a ghetto, which in my case was a brickyard or a brick factory in the city of Kolozsvar, and that is in Transylvania. At that time it was in the country of Hungary. They lined us all up in front of our homes with the whole family, father, mother, whoever was in the house, and everybody else that was a Jew on that same street. And they asked us to take with us whatever we could carry and wait out on the street. And at that point, we still didn't know where we were going. Frankly, I didn't know what was happening. We have, in my home, never spoken of the atrocities that were taking place in other parts of the world at that time already, so I really didn't know anything about it. But I was just wondering, as a youngster, why this is happening. Why are they evicting us from a home that we've lived in forever, a home that we own? But we had no choice but to do as they said. They were armed with bayonets and rifles. I was 15 years old. They marched us to an abandoned brick factory where they had sheds that they housed the bricks in when they were operating it, and they gave us a space to make that our home. And everybody else that was rounded up in that day were given the same kind of space in that particular hut-like facility with a roof only, no walls, like a shed. It was not knowing what is happening to us. My family, as far as I know, didn't know what was happening to us. I don't think they knew about a concentration camp at that time. And we were just waiting to find out from somebody what was happening to us. At that point, we really have not seen any German soldiers at all. All this was Hungarian, I don't know what you call them, Iron Guard or something like that, that were doing the work for the Germans. We really didn't see many Nazis until we were taken to a train. And I have no idea how long we were in this brick factory. We were asked to take our belongings and wear anything we can, because we're going to be now taken to a labor camp. And we were taken to a train railroad yard and loaded into kettle cars. And at that point, we still didn't know where we were going and what was happening. But they loaded us into a cattle cart. It was full of children, women, fathers, mothers, old people, young people. And we waited for the train to take off for this labor camp, where we were going to go to. Where it was, we had no idea. The days, it was dark in the cars. The days just folded one into the other. I have no idea how many days this was. All I remember is that once in a while it stopped. They opened up a door. They took out the dead, quite a few that died during the journey, and gave us some food and water, and the car was closed again, and off we went. And all we could tell is that we heard the noise of the wheels, but which country we were in, what city we were in, what was happening, where we were going, we didn't know. Well, when we arrived, we still didn't know where we were. We didn't know what country we were in. And when they opened up the cattle cars, they asked us to bring our belongings with us, and everybody thought, you know, the more they could wear, the more they will have wherever we go. So everybody put all the stuff that they could on their bodies, thinking that this will be something that they're going to get to keep. And once we got off the train, all we knew is I heard symphony music playing, and we saw a great big sign on a gate which said Arbeit macht frei, labor makes you free, work makes you free. And we thought we were in some kind of a labor camp, but in essence it was the gates into Auschwitz. Once we were told to march with our belongings in a particular direction, in the front of the column, mothers, fathers, children holding hands, going in the direction of this gate, were greeted by a German officer, and along with him there was several of them with dogs, German Shepherd dogs, and this gentleman was telling us that, pointing to us, that you go to the left or you go to the right. And at that point is the last time I saw my father, my mother, my sisters, my uncles, my nephews, my nieces, and had no idea still didn't know what was happening to us. And I ended up being with one of my brothers and one of my brother-in-laws in the same place. And then we started hearing the rumors about the reality of what was really happening to us. They started pointing out to us the chimneys where the people were being burned, and we were all our clothes was taken away from us. They shaved our heads. We were given a shower. We were given a uniform, a striped uniform, a prisoner's uniform, and that's how life started evolving. They gave us they assigned us into a barrack. And at that point, still, the only one that I had known what was happening to is myself, my brother, and my brother-in-law, because everybody else we have never seen again. Well, the worst thing that happened during that time there, first of all, before anything happened, there was a registration taking place. We were living in a barrack stacked in different levels of wooden beds, and they took us out to the yard where they asked us to march by a table, which behind this table several people sat writing things down, and they asked you questions. They asked me my name, they asked me where I came from, and the gentleman that asked me the questions turned out to be a cousin of mine from Czechoslovakia. And he was, of course, very surprised to see us there with the same last name, and told my brother-in-law, that you have to get out of here quickly. And we said, to get out of here, how are we going to get out of here? And we never have seen him again, but about 3 weeks later, we were loaded onto the trains, and we were taken, my brother-in-law and I ended up in a concentration camp called Mauthausen, which is in Austria, and my brother I have never seen again. And then we knew that we were in concentration camps. Then we knew that most of the people that come to these camps get killed before they get out of where we were. Whether it was his doing that arranged for us to be taken away, I have no idea. But we were lucky enough to be taken out of Auschwitz and ended up in Mauthausen. From Mauthausen, there we were working in a stone quarry, and we came to realize while we were there that this was an identified death camp. The purpose of you being there is also to be worked to death. They were mining rocks out of the mountains and have you bring them down the mountain, take it back up the mountain. There was no purpose for it except to kill as many as possible from work. And after being there, and I don't remember the time frame of that either, we were loaded on a train and we were taken to another town, and in this town there was a camp called Ebensee. Ebensee was a sub-camp of Mauthausen. And here where we were assigned to barracks again, my brother-in-law and I were still together, but many that came with us we have never seen again. And we assumed they all died in Mauthausen. And in Ebensee, they put us to work in we were mining tunnels under the Austrian Alps. And the purpose of these tunnels, we discovered, was they were building a very, very large factory under the Alps that was to produce the V-2 rockets that the Germans had developed by that time. And those are those rockets that they were firing at London, but this was going to be the mass production of them. And we worked in the tunnels every day. Those of us that survived from day to day. How we survived, that's a very good question, because most everybody, by the statistic I read, 90% of the people that I went to Ebensee with never left Ebensee. I was young, I was strong, and I didn't want to die. And I, until this day, believe that that was one of the most important criteria in surviving this Holocaust, is not to have given up the will to survive for whatever was happening. Well, of course, at that time we were told because we were Jews, and that did not make a very good reasoning either, because in my camp we had Jews, we had Catholics, we had people of all religions, mostly Jews, but a lot of them non-Jews, and Russians, French people, Italian people, but they singled out the Jew because they wanted to destroy the race. But I was too naive and too young to try to understand the politics of it. We didn't know anything about these things. I know the Jews were detested and discriminated against from the day I was born. It was nothing new to me. Every day I went to school in Romania, I was tormented and beat because I was a Jew. Why? I don't know. But that's the way life was in those days, you see. Well, of course, how can I feel? I have been very bitter for a long time, primarily arguing with my God. If he was my God, why did he let this happen? I had 8 sisters, I had 2 brothers, I had untold many nephews, uncles. We were a very, very big family. And for all I knew, the only one that was left is me and my brother-in-law. And we didn't know of anybody else until the war was over. After the war, I began to discover who in the family is still alive. My brother ended up with typhoid fever in a Swedish hospital. We knew then my mother, my father, my uncles, my sisters, they were dead in Auschwitz, because by that time we already knew what was happening to them. A couple of my sisters ended up on from Auschwitz in camps. From there they were, as a matter of fact, they participated in that train that Schindler organized to take them back to Auschwitz from wherever they were. But until today it is very hard to understand what the purpose of it all was, and to accept that this happened to us. But the reality is that I never have seen my family ever again from the day we arrived in that place called Auschwitz. As you may tell, it is very difficult for me to tell this story. I have avoided all the time to talk about it because it's hard. But I feel like many people around me that telling the story may prevent the world, in the world, for this kind of thing to happen again. But I have reservations about that as well in this day, because it's happening in this day, many parts of the world, to other people. It's happening in Africa. It's happening all around us. But hopefully, by keeping the story alive to what happened to us, it may prevent something similar to happen again to any other peoples in the world. Teaching the story and preaching tolerance and the eradication of bigotry is a very important cause. And maybe only through teaching and learning can such atrocities be prevented. Whether it's to the Jew, whether it is to any other religion, that's the only possibility. Future generations should never be blind to the fact that everybody is at risk in this world. And the only way that they can save themselves and save other people from going through the same things is to keep the story going and prevent the to eradicate hatred, bigotry, and tolerance to your fellow man. And don't judge him by his religion. Let him be who he wants to be, but be kind